welcome to Magdalen College School Question Time. Our panel today is Thomas Richard Edwards, a chartered accountant, Andy Anderson, management consultant at the NHS, Mr. Ian Colling, the head teacher, I'm Holly, Ron Sawbridge, County Council of Brackley West, chairman of Northampton County Council, Tom Haley and Ben, who are all students at Magdalen College School. To kick off our debate, lady with the dark hair, what's your question?
Hi. Well, students are frequently moved on when associating in groups bigger than 2 or 3. However, there is nowhere for us to go in Brackley. What do the panellists suggest could be done to remedy this situation?
Tom, I think you're best.
Yeah, well, perhaps there are a lot of complaints often about the fact that young really have nothing to do. In Brackley, there are really no facilities, they can't really go anywhere, and often this results in a lot of people going to either the park in town, which is quite unpopular due to how dark it is and how little there is to do there, compared to the rec centre, sort of on the left side of town, where a lot of people tend to migrate and hang around for a while, and apparently this agitates a lot of civilians, and so they get rather annoyed with the amount of teens gathering. So it's often the case that the police come and have to break up the gathering of people, and it often results in complaints between the kids, and they have to move on to places like the field, and then they can go move on from there, and it gets dark, and it just really ends up in a lot of trouble. And perhaps the best remedy to sorting this is building more facilities in places around the town where perhaps people won't go because there's something to do there, but once they do have light and space and even maybe a little park or something, there'd be a lot more to do, and there'd be a lot more spread out. Unless people would spend time outside of Tesco.
Yes, Mr. Colin.
I think there's also a need for us to help to educate students on this front. I mean, as a school, we do an awful lot in terms of educating students in the broadest sense, not just in terms of preparing for examinations, but to help students to understand how other people perceive them. But also, we have done quite a lot of work in the school already in helping students to think about how they use their leisure time for other people.
I think there are a lot of things for teenagers to do, but not from the age about 15 up. You don't want to hang around with a load of 12-year-olds in a youth club. It's the last thing I'm going to do. But although there are the facilities, no one wants to go to them, unfortunately.
But is the leisure centre open in the evening?
I don't know.
Only for like a gym, that sort of thing.
On Tuesdays and Thursday nights, the youth club's open, but not on Fridays, which is when most people our age will be going out the rest of the week inside or studying or something like that.
But I mean, I always thought the leisure centre was an ideal spot for people to go because they can play sports in there, assuming it's open, and also, as you say, it's got a gym, so that would be a good centre, I think, for activities. But I'm not sure about the opening hours of it. But I think you have to pay for the members, don't you?
Yeah.
It's quite expensive.
It is open in the evening, but what actually happens at the moment is the youth outside the leisure centres, the people who do want to pay to use it, have to get to a crowd of children or youths to get in, and it's very off-putting to them. And that, I think, is the issue, is that they're using the leisure centre facilities which somebody else is paying for free and getting in their way. And they need to, as you were saying, they need to consider other people. Maybe that's not always happening.
And that's, again, part of the cohesion of our community, is having people of different ages doing things together, not just in silos of single-age groups. So I think there's a mixture needed.
Okay, the next question is, with the rioting came a lot of stereotyping about the young. If we refer back to loss of EMA and the lack of provisions for young people, was the rioting such a surprise? Anyone want to take this question?
Well, so they've got rid of the EMA. That's a loss to quite a majority of people, but in some schools, especially Morgan, for example, there is actually a bursary fund where you can go to for people who may struggle with the costs of full-time educational training. So that maybe is not an excuse for everyone, but perhaps for some.
And it's around the image that young people have in society today. And the riots, the vast majority of the rioters were not young people actually, they were criminal people and others, and people who are equipped to jump on the bandwagon to attack the youths of today.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I think we should have more options for students after year 11 because I feel many of them just get pressured into kind of staying on sixth form and then leading on to university. Many of them just because their friends are staying on sixth form, which I don't think is right. Although I also think, I don't believe the EMA should have been cut though, because although a lot of richer students don't really need it, I think it's really affected the poorer students who don't have as many options. And if they wanted to go to university, then I think it's the knowledge that they should have should be getting them their position and not the money.